watching the latest news from financialmirror.tv. America voted for change, with Barack Obama winning Tuesday's historic presidential elections that economists hope will bring a turnaround to the current financial crisis. European and world markets were muted on the election result on Wednesday, possibly waiting for Obama to apply his message of "yes, we can" to the troubled global economies. World leaders have already urged President-elect Obama to help forge a new economic order, as excitement about the election of the first black US president was tempered by an awareness of the challenges he faces as the world's biggest economy labors in recession. European Commission President José Manuel Barroso urged Obama to join Europe in forging a new deal for a new world, and British Prime Minister Gordon Brown praised his progressive values and vision. Wall Street opened lower on Wednesday as investors turned their focus back to concerns on the weakening global economy, while the dollar rose against major currencies following its biggest one-day slide in 13 years. Obama does not take office until January, leaving outgoing President George Bush to host a summit of world leaders in Washington on November the 15th to discuss the global financial crisis, which has its roots in the collapse of the US housing market. That summit will tackle new ways to regulate the world's financial sector as the world heads into recession. Fresh from his victory, President-elect Obama's first critical decision is to find a Treasury Secretary who must be a regulator, diplomat, defender of the dollar, and master of depleted coffers, all while figuring out how to escape a nasty recession. High on the next Treasury boss's to-do list is rewriting the rules of finance to prevent another credit crisis like the current one that threatens to trigger the worst US downturn in 30 years, derailing global growth in the process. That is why the list of candidates includes Timothy Geithner of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, who has been at the center of efforts to stabilize financial markets. Obama's shortlist is also said to include former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers and former Fed Chairman Paul Volcker. He has also spoken favorably about investor Warren Buffett. The Bush administration and Fed have committed trillions of dollars to try to avert a financial system meltdown. That will constrain the next administration's spending capacity and require some delicate diplomacy with countries such as China and Japan that hold hundreds of billions of dollars in US debt and have grown increasingly wary as the credit crisis intensified. The dollar rose against a basket of currencies on Wednesday, rebounding from a big fall in the previous session, as Barack Obama sealed victory in the US presidential election. Investors have now turned their attention to the global recession, which kept risk aversion high and pushed stock prices lower. That helped the low-yielding yen, while higher-yielding currencies such as the pound struggled. Both the Bank of England and the European Central Bank are expected to deliver big interest rate cuts on Thursday as they seek to dampen economic slowdowns in the UK and the Eurozone. Analysts said the prospect of lower rates was pushing the euro and sterling down on Wednesday, after falling more than 2% on a trade-weighted basis on Tuesday. Dollar buying kicked in shortly after media projected that Obama had captured the White House. Market participants said that a 3% slide in European shares was also helping the dollar to gain as investors remained cool on risk. European stocks retreated on Wednesday, arresting 6 straight days of global equity gains and offsetting Asia's early rally as investors turned their attention back to the economy after Barack Obama's election victory, with pharmaceutical and oil stocks the main drags on markets. Pharmaceuticals were the biggest losers, with analysts saying that a Democratic election victory will always be bad news for pharmaceuticals. Energy stocks dragged lower as crude fell more than 3%, and analysts said an Obama win could mean a windfall tax on oil companies as he favors green or alternative energy. Insurers were up as analysts suggested that Barack Obama is likely to face a higher tax on income, which will lead the affluent to buy more tax-deductible insurance products and pension plans. The October U.S. employment report on Friday will likely highlight the economic challenge facing the president-elect, with forecasts of non-farm payroll losses of up to 250,000. Another strategist in Hong Kong said that economic fundamentals in the U.S. are deteriorating faster than the market can keep up with, and there is very little an Obama administration can do to shield Asia from the effects of this downturn. Britain's services sector shrank in October at its fastest pace since 1996, and optimism, employment, and new and outstanding business all slumped to record lows. Wednesday's report increases the odds that the Bank of England will cut rates on Thursday by more than half percentage point, especially after grim manufacturing and construction data earlier this week. Prices charged by the services sector, which spans businesses from cafes to banks and makes up 3/4 of British economic output, rose at their slowest pace since February 2006, and the sector's input costs rose at their weakest pace in 13 months. British unemployment also seems set to continue to rise in line with some predictions, suggesting joblessness would hit 2 million out of a 30 million strong workforce in time for Christmas. Hotels and restaurants reported the biggest fall in new business, followed by financial firms and those in transport, storage and communications. Thank you for watching FinancialMirror.tv.